Hello, this is Clint Locklear from the Farmer's Grove, and we're at the top of our property. And this is just a neglected, it's like a big island, mostly Chinese privet, different things like that, honeysuckle, that we have been in the process of clearing up, which brought up some interesting things you have to think about. What are you going to do with all this? Now these piles here, this is about a third so far of what we've gotten just out of this little hole. And this one's as high as my head. You can't tell that on camera. That one is as high as my head and bigger than a garage. That's just inside of this circle that's right here. Now, if I don't do something with all this Chinese privet, it is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow out in the pasture. Plus, there's some really cool things, a feature that I would like to take advantage of here on the farm. And one of them is this down in here stays really moist, and once we get it all cleaned up, it's where we're going to have our comfrey nursery at, is right down here. So that's a really cool thing that we're going to have here. We got some neat looking trees that really spread out. I mean, if I was 9 or 10 years old, can you think of a more perfect place to put a tree house? I mean, it's just really cool. But we have all this organic matter now, and like I said, this is only about a third of it. So what do we do with it? That's a big question that a lot of people come to face with in reality, that when they read a bunch of blogs and they see stuff on YouTube, like a video you're watching now, it's all of a sudden, it's a little bit more real, and all of a sudden the volume gets a hold of it. Now, I know there's going to be some people out there that go, you should make that into biochar. For me, just on this clump, and this is not all the privet I've got to get out next to the river, but just on this clump, I would have to go get a commercial biochar unit, which I don't know how many thousands or tens of thousands of dollars that would cost to be able to use this. So to me, that's not viable. I don't have a tractor. I'm not buying a 55-gallon drum burner for biochar. I'll be doing this till I'm 80 years old. So that's not going to work. I'm not really looking to do, I don't want to burn it. I think it's wasteful with all this organic material to burn it. So what I'm going to do is some quasi Hugulculture, which we're going to get into pretty in detail about why and how I'm doing that. But it's not a just regular Hugulculture. But what I want to show in the video, this is a tool that if you're going to have to clear brush, it's one you really want. Now, it's a weed eater, but it's a bigger weed eater. It's you're not going to be able to do what I'm talking about with a $150 weed eater. You're going to spend probably $250, $300 or more to get a weed eater that's got enough butt to it to spin this blade. Plus, it needs to have the shaft to work. Now, this one's a steel. I'm sure any other model can work, but this blade is almost invaluable to me. Now, I've already burnt through one, had to go get another one. So, I mean, they are not forever in use. But you can stand up in any of this privet that's within 2 inches, or any tree really. I haven't tried it on Osage orange or black locust or anything, but on most of the wood, I can cut through it in just a few seconds. So it's like a chainsaw on a weed eater. The issue with it is you get so much material so fast that you've got to plan and have a way and a system in place to get it. Now, if you'll notice, one of the things that I've already learned from doing this, I've stacked all of this in a certain way. You've got all of the stuff that was on the ground, the stems facing towards me, all of the leaves and bushy on the top is facing away from me. You'll see that same way on this pile, and you'll see the same thing on this pile, and the same thing on that pile. Now, the reason for that is pretty straightforward when you start doing this. If you just make a great big pile because you're in a hurry and you're, just out enjoying the weather, if it's a nice day or whatever, it's going to be a nightmare to move. So by doing it like this, I can grab a handful of it, I can load it on the trailer, I can take it to the hugel beds, if that's what they're really going to be called, I'm not sure yet. But it takes a lot. It's like designing the systems in place to be able to move material after you get it. Because you just make one big pile like you see farmers do out in the middle of the field, like they're going to burn it, and you're going to try to use that organic material, unless you're just going to dump dirt on it for a big Hugulculture bed. You're going to find out, just like I did, you better plan on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 10th load. So this is what we're doing on the Farmer's Grove. This has probably been neglected for 15 or more years. It's gonna take a good probably month of when I have time to come in here and clear it out, but I show you when it's in, and I'll show you how I'm using all of this material, because that's important before you just come to a knee-jerk reaction on the latest, coolest thing that you see on Pinterest or in a blog post somewhere. Because when you start dealing with this much volume, you really need to have a plan, and you need to really think about what are the purposes you can use it for. And that, to me, that's the neat thing about permaculture, is you can take what is a waste product and turn it into a really amazing product.